Anytime you don't come out of the game with a win, it's disappointing, and it hurts. You sit in that locker room with those guys, and they put a lot into that game. And obviously, our opponent made a lot of plays, and we need to make more. And the opposite happened in the first quarter that we were hoping for. I thought going into the game, the turnover margin would be our advantage. And the first quarter, to turn it over twice, flipped what we thought would be our strength. We did get some different momentum swings coming back, but weren't able to put them away, obviously. And Coach Mullen did a nice job. Their quarterback, as everyone knows, is a tremendous player, and I'm just sad for our senior class and appreciative to those guys and for our fans that came out and sat through the rain. Thank you for that, and I know our seniors and our team thank you as well. It was a great bowl experience, and I know our players were appreciative of everything the Belk Bowl did for them and our administration. And now you go into the off season 7-6, and there's a lot of things, a lot of young guys coming back. And like I told them, the only way you get better is to fight adversity. There's two things that happen. You have struggle in your life, and then you deal with struggle. And I told them, I've been through this, and the first thing that you do is you stick together as a family. You look at yourself. As a coach, I obviously look at myself, and you look at every single thing you do, and then you get into your off-season program and you start working on those things. And day by day, and that's what you do when you're building a program. We hit the road and recruit. Our kids come back from the break and we develop and push ourselves as coaches, push our players to do everything that we can to improve upon where we're at. And, put ourselves in position to have a good football game today. And at times came back and, obviously third quarter came out and did some good things and just weren't able to stop them there at the end. And with that, I'll open it up. Any questions?
Coach, what goes into the evaluation of the problems on defense? How do you go about that this offseason?
Well, obviously you're going to look at every play of every game, and then you'll sort it. Formationally, you'll sort it by play type. You'll sort it by gain, run, and pass, and you'll start to find what the common ground was. There's sometimes it's a scheme, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's a player making a play and our player not making a play. And you try to see if there was any one thing, because if it's schematic, obviously you got to change that. If it's not, if it's players making plays, then you got to look at why that's happening. Is it technique? Different things we can do. Is there ways that we can help them and put them in better positions? But you have to go through every single thing, and it's a process that we've started. We did that going into our bye week. Obviously, we kind of looked at the first half of the season, and then you look at as much as you can during the bowl prep when you're not out recruiting. But it is a process that whether you're 12-1 or 7-6, you do it, and you've got to be super hard on yourself as a coach. And like I told our staff, it's not our players' fault first; it's ours. We always look at ourselves first, and what can we do to help them be the best them? And then at some point they got to make the plays when you get them there, and that's the next thing you talk about. But as a coach, I've always felt like anything that happens on the field is me first and foremost as the head coach, and then down to my coordinators, down to my assistants, and then to the players, and all of us together are the result of it, good or bad.
How much did the interception right out of the box kind of throw things askew?
Yeah. Well, they gained a possession. They deferred and gave us the ball. And, obviously you spend a lot of time watching what they do. And they're in squeeze on certain looks, and we thought we'd get a naked with the back in the flat. And their end was up the field. And Jacoby, had a guy in his face and couldn't get the ball where it wasn't going to be. Unfortunately, their guy made a good play, and that hurts. You put your defense in that field position early in the game like we did. So, like I said, that was the opposite of what we were hoping for there in the first quarter.
Was Prescott as good as you thought he would be?
Yeah, he's a great quarterback, and he's arguably the best player they've ever had at their university. And look at his yardage and the way he handles things and how tough he is, and how he runs the ball when they need him to run it. He's a really good quarterback.
You talked about young players coming back. One of those is Pharaoh and Kiever. How important was it to get him involved, and then what he did today? How exciting does that make what he can do?
Yeah, I was happy for Pharaoh, first of all, and it was a great play, well executed, and excited about Farrell. You know, I mean, I think I've always been that way about him. And tight end, I think now that he's stronger and being on defense, I think made him tougher. He has a chance to be a very good tight end. And, you know, we couldn't force feed him the whole offense in a short window, but we did have packages for him where he was in the game today. And obviously the play action pass, he did a great job executing it. And excited, you know, to have him back. You know, him and Cole Cook and Jalen Samuels and David Greenwich. I mean, there's some good tight ends coming back in the program.
Jacoby made some big plays. He had a couple interceptions. It seemed like a bit of an up and down day for him. You know, with those highs and lows, what was your kind of overall evaluation of his performance and where he came out?
He played at times early. You know, the 2 picks were not normal for him, and I was proud of him for fighting through that, because a lot of times early in the game that can take you out of your game. But it was a tough day to throw the football, you know, with the rain and the grass the way it was. We had some guys open, and where he didn't have a chance to find them, they did a good job pressuring us, and we didn't do a very good job protecting him at times. But, you know, you get down the way you do, and it kind of takes you out of the scheme that you want to run at times, too. You know, you can't be as balanced when you're down 3 scores. And so Jacoby's a kid that played extremely hard. I was proud that he was a quarterback that I was able to coach, and thankful to him for all the work that he gave our program, and, you know, look forward to the guys coming back.
Would you have preferred Samuels touch the ball more?
Yeah, I mean, there were some plays where we were trying to get him the ball, Joe, and couldn't, you know. I mean, there were several where we were trying. And sometimes in the Jet game, you know, they have too many people out there. We're going to not hand it to him into those people. And when we did, you know, he had success. But there were several plays that were called to go to him, and we couldn't get it to him.
Without any reflection on Jacoby, in the second to last or last series, did you think about using Jalen at all?
We did. We talked about it, actually, and there's nothing against Jalen. Matt asked Jacoby, you know, do you want us to take you out, similar to what you saw happen on the other sideline? And he said, no, I want to finish this thing. And out of respect to him, that's what we did. You know, it had nothing to do with whether we thought Jalen could handle it. I would have loved to have put him in there. But I think when you have a senior that wants to finish his career like that, that's what you do for your seniors. You let them do that.
When you talk about a lot of self-assessment, next year will be year 4, more challenging schedule, new quarterback. Where do you feel like you are as a program moving forward, and how important is this offseason?
Well, the offseason's critical. Every offseason is critical. And, you know, with only losing 10 seniors from our roster, and there's a lot of guys that played football this year and the year before that are back. And as you mentioned, you know, playing Notre Dame, you know, in Miami on the schedule as well. It's a very challenging schedule for us. So we're going to have to improve on what we've got. You know, we were competitive in every game that we played in the regular season this year, without a doubt, which we weren't the year before. We need to be better. We need to be able to win some of those competitive one-possession games and be a 4-quarter team. And we've been able to do that in some games, but not consistently. But to take the next step, you know, that's our goal. And I think, you know, being in year 4 and having several returning starters, we have an opportunity to do that. You know, the area that we're going to be the youngest is on the offensive line, so it's going to be a critical offseason for those kids.
Coach, what kind of explanation did you